board here, so it'll be also uploaded in the membership website. So welcome to Outsourcing Mastery, simple techniques on how to outsource to the Philippines. So what we're going to be covering here today is, the first step is working with Filipinos. We need to talk about a few cultural issues that can come up when working with people in the Philippines. How much to pay and how to pay, quite essential parts of working with somebody, is that you actually pay them and that you have agreed upon how much to pay them. And this webinar actually came about last week. I changed a few of them around because I was speaking to my friend James, and he said, Erlen, people don't know how to do these things, and you need to explain that to them. So I said, cool, that's what I'm going to do in the next webinar. How to train people. Step number 4 is getting started, which is basically some very simple techniques on how to get started, basically, like what are the first steps, and relationships and habits. So how often do you talk to your employee and such things. So working with Filipinos. Well, first of all, it's important to know that the Philippines have, in some ways, copied the US education model, which means that you have universities and colleges and high school and things like that. And a lot of people go to higher education. So it is a educated work base. That doesn't mean that they're all educated in the subject area that you are working in, but it means that they have a basic understanding of logic and things like that, right? So if you're making rockets, they might need some help with understanding how to help you, basically. But the Philippines is becoming more and more popular as a destination, especially within voice. Voice means customer service and sales and similar kind of issues, basically VAs and PAs, those kind of things, right? Filipinos are they're loyal. They stay with you for many years. For instance, many of my employees I have been working with for 6 years, and it's a good working relationship. So once you find somebody good, they're likely to stick with you. And for instance, our web guy, he I had a conversation with him. I think it was about 6 months ago, and I asked him, "So, are you happy with your salary?" And he said, "Yes, sir." And then I asked him, what are you? What's the industry average for you? And are you happy with our arrangement?" And he said, "Yes, I really like working for you. The industry average is a bit higher." And then I realized we should be paying a higher fee. So, but he's been working with us for a while now, and he does really good work, and he's loyal, um, loyal to doing the work that we set him. So um, I've had many good experiences with employing people, and it's turned into long-term relationships and also friendships. So um, in the West, we were more used to people sort of coming and going kind of thing. Like people stay for 2 years and then they move on to something else. In the Philippines, people actually like sticking with the same job. They Filipinos really like learning. It is important to train them and give time for training. It's not that they I guess my point here is that it's really important to take the time to train them, because training people does take time. But once you've trained them, you have them, right? So you have the loyalty aspect. So it's not like it's wasted time. And there is something about having patience to actually train somebody to do a task for you. And the more you do that, the more freedom you have, basically. And what you can get them to do is that you can actually, once you've taught them the task, you can actually get them to make the training program. So, for instance, in the image editing company, um, my business partner there, he actually made the tutorials in the very beginning. So when we hired more staff, they watched his tutorial that he had made that I had taught him. Right. So it's it's important to train your staff, because then they can actually build the system for you. Or as we talked about before, if you have an info product that you just need to implement, then you can actually give that to them. In the mastermind group, we talked about Kajabi and how Kajabi is a membership website where you actually have learning modules within the actual package. So you give that to your Filipino employee and they can learn by doing that. One thing to remember here is that don't be too harsh on them, because they might just disappear because they'll be embarrassed, and they could just disappear on you. So be patient and be more gentle than you would be with staff in the West, basically, because they are more sensitive. But they do good work. They want to learn, and they're very grateful for the opportunity to work with somebody from the West. In the Philippines, it's actually a big status to work with somebody from the West, and you as their boss will be on a different level in terms of respect, and they will do anything they can to please you, and they will be grateful for bonuses and such things. It's important to know that a lot of Filipino VAs are actually still living at home with their parents, and often can be the breadwinner, which means basically they make the most money, and they're actually not only paying for themselves, they're also paying for their whole family. And I've experienced that on numerous occasions. So it's important to bear in mind that you are actually working with somebody that is feeding many more people. Um, Possibly that's one of the reasons why they want to do really good work, because it's not only about them, it's about their whole family. A lot of VAs are single parents, so maybe there's been a divorce or something similar, and they're then moved back to their parents' house, and then they're actually feeding the whole family. So just something I wanted to mention, that when you employ somebody, that you could be feeding a whole family of people. Working Filipinos are family oriented. Okay, so the predominant group of religion in the Philippines is Roman Catholic. There are some other religions, but predominantly Roman Catholic. So if you're familiar with those kind of cultures that have Roman Catholic, would you, Regina, would you like to say some more about Roman Catholics?
Yes, that this is we're Christians basically because of the Spaniards taking over a country for more than 300 years. So we basically adapt their religion. So until now, we practice Roman Catholic in schools. Growing up, it's a part of our education system and also part of our culture and our family values.
Yeah. And how does that affect the sort of outsourcee relationship?
Yes, because we value time with our family and we value days that we go to church. And sometimes when Westerners had a lot of projects to do and there's a deadline to meet, they tend to forget that we need a break, that we value our church days, that we value our time with our family. So
Hmm.
sometimes we tend to sacrifice that just so we meet, and
Right.
then that's how it is.
And the Filipino worker won't necessarily let you know that that's the case.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because they'll just keep on working because they don't want to disappoint you.
Yes,
So
they will deliver the work, but they will be sad doing it. They're not happy.
right, right. So so one of the cases today was actually a bit of a case of this with the client, and one aspect is actually the politeness. So um, they will spend they will spend a lot of time creating an email to send. So if you're chatting with them on Skype and they don't reply straight away, It could be because they're thinking about how to reply to you. So a lot of consideration and thought goes into actually replying to even a Skype message. This does not mean church day is on Sundays. I'm not sure. It's probably 11 o'clock, Filipino time, or 10. What time is church on Sundays, Regina?
Yes, around that time,
Yeah, 10, 11. Yeah,
9
you
or
have to
10.
you have to
Yes.
ask your employee for when it is. Um, so today the case was that they hadn't communicated enough with the client, right? So the client's like, we would rather have too much communication than too little communication. So we've all grown up in different cultures, and the reason why we're talking about the Filipino culture is because then you have a better working relationship, and it'll be one of those long-term relationships. And it's just good to know. And you also have the book Outsourcing Mastery, where there's 17 short chapters on that book's about 70 pages, so you can read through it, on the bus to work and on the way home. So that gives you also sort of a repetition of what we're talking about today. We may be mentioning some things that are not in the book today, but if you need a replay of what we're talking about here today, just a recap of it, you can actually just go through that book, and there's a lot of info there. Let's see. Yes, you mentioned this, Regina. The Sundays are rest days, and I also, karaoke is also very popular, right, Regina? You
Yes,
you like the karaoke? Yeah. So
yes,
Wednesdays are karaoke night, right?
yes, yes.
Um, we mentioned this earlier, that Filipinos are more sensitive than other cultures, easily embarrassed. And if they're embarrassed, and if you overload them, so if you give them a job, they're likely to just say yes instead of, well, if they can't do it, they're likely to say, we can't do it, like we don't understand. But when it comes to workload, they might just go, yes, yes, and then they'll compromise their family stuff, and then they'll be more unhappy. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that you kind of need to get it out of them in a way where you ask questions. So you ask, are you spending time with your family this weekend? So you don't give them a deadline on Monday morning, when they're actually planned to go to the beach with their family. So yeah, because the answer, if you give them a big task and you ask them, can you do it? They'll say yes, and they will do it. But if for your working relationship, it can be good to ask a bit more, like, um, do you have plans? But it depends on your agreement with them as well, right? And they generally dislike confrontations, and that's why, if they have not delivered or haven't delivered as good as you had hoped, and you're very very direct with them, then they might just disappear. And that doesn't mean that they don't like you or anything like that. It just means that they're embarrassed, basically. Anything we need to fill in there, Regina?
Um, I think I like to add that Filipinos has a very strong sense of gratitude. So
Yes.
whenever we feel like we feel like we owe something to our employers, that's why we want to deliver on time, we deliver perfectly, and that's why we tend to compromise other things. So it is very helpful if you ask us questions like, how are you? How's your family? It helps us. It helps the mood in working like that.
Yeah. It's not only talk about work all the time. Also ask about other aspects, because there's a life outside of work. And if
Yes.
and if your VA is mainly working at home, you are their colleague, and creating a bond there is a good idea. Yeah. What would you like to say about the general Filipino culture, Regina?
Generally, we're actually laid back people. we're not used to the hustle and bustle like like Westerners are. And also, I'd like to add that with Filipinos, we are actually taught how to be an employee, how to
Yeah.
be the best employee. We are not taught to become the employer. We are not
Mm,
taught to become a businessman. We are
mm,
taught in schools to be the best employee. And I think that's a mindset that Westerners also should know.
yeah.
And we don't really aim for becoming the boss.
Yeah.
We actually just our after college, our main mission or goal in life is to get a job.
Yeah.
That's just it. We don't aim for the stars.
Right. Is it more about family life and having that stability? Would you say family is equally important to your career, or is it less or more?
Yes, absolutely. It's all family. Our family is like our backbone, you know. If our family is our support system.
Mm,
And I think I should also say that the opinions of our family matters.
mm.
So if they say something about our work, if they say something, we put it into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. So the benefit of Filipinos being family oriented is that you get that sense of loyalty. And I'd like to add, Regina, that uh, in the West we're also taught to be employees. I was
Yeah.
certainly taught to think like an employee, and it's only in recent, I think, the past 5 to 10 years. In Norway, it's the past 5 years where all the talk about entrepreneurship and this whole um, educational boom for entrepreneurs has happened in the past 5 years. So it's new here as well, and I believe also in the Philippines there will be more and more courses on entrepreneurship. And we're seeing that in the information marketing industry, that especially Eastern European countries are they're very eager, very keen on learning the skills of the entrepreneur. If you ever go to a Millionaire Mind, Millionaire Mind is a T. Harv Eker seminar, which is very good. I recommend all of you to go and do it. Maybe you've already been, but if you look at the people there, um, there's a lot of people from Eastern Europe there, and they're hungry, and they're all learning how to be entrepreneurs. And I believe that's also coming to the Philippines, Regina, in time.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so we also are trained to think like entrepreneurs, but the recent entrepreneurial boom is actually the past 5 years or so. So salaries. The average salary for a general admin VA, you can start them off as at around $350 a month in a sort of training period, and then what I always do is that we up the salary after 1 to 2, 3 months. If the person is right for the job and they're delivering value, uh, quickly we hike up the salary a little bit. And then, of course, the surprise bonuses that I mentioned in the last webinar. Article content writers, depending on, you can also pay per article or pay per hour. But this slide is basically to give you a general idea of what you're looking to pay for. And to put it in perspective, a McDonald's salary is $1.16. Um, so if you're looking to get somebody that's doing higher level work, then you need to pay them more. Um, so if you on the low scale for a VA, you're looking at $2.59. The average would be 3.40 an hour, and then a performer would be $4 an hour. And I think it's important to bear in mind that if somebody's really delivering good value to you, you should pay for it, and you should take good care of them. Um, and the more you train them, the more loyal they will be, and they will stick with you, and they can be an asset for you for many years to come. The Yes, Sandeep says Millionaire Mind is awesome. I totally agree. What a great seminar to go to. I try to go every other year just to get a refresh of it, because it's incredible how many how much programming we already have in our head, and but that just helps us get conscious on all our programming. The 13th month I mentioned on the Ultimate Traffic Generation Summit and in the webinars. I've mentioned the 13th month, and it is a. Regina, would you like to tell us about the 13th month?
Yes, the 13th month pay again is it's a basic monthly pay divided by 12 months, and then the number of months a VA actually worked for you. Most only here in the Philippines, only the regular employee, the ones that are really going to the offices here in the Philippines, enjoy the 13th month pay. And we would like to encourage everyone to pay even the virtual assistant, those people who are working at home, that we can receive 13th month pay. It actually helps us enjoy our Christmas and our holidays more
Mm.
because we've got extra money to spend. We can buy more stuff during the holidays. We can buy gifts. We can buy more food for one big family.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that it's transferred before the 24th, so that people have the money before Christmas, not after. Um, I actually started doing this about 6 years ago. I didn't know about the 13th month, and I just decided to give a Christmas bonus, and I decided just to pay them double salary. And it was actually later on, I think it was about after outsourcing for 2 years, that I found out about the 13th month. And the thing is, they would never have told me about it, right? They didn't tell me about it, but for some reason, I did it. And it was sort of a scheme where, if we do well this year, you get a double salary in December, and we've done that for many years now. So yeah, the way to calculate it, is basically, if somebody worked for you for 6 months, then you pay them half of a full year. So you do like, if the basic monthly salary is $400, you pay them $200 for the 13th month. Yes. Okay. So some legal issues in terms of outsourcing. Um, you're not legally obliged to pay it, but if you want to be culturally correct, you do it. And also, if you want to, basically, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to share your success. If you want to make a lot of money, you have to celebrate your success with the people that have been part of creating it. And I believe that's a part of what's fun in business, is actually celebrating with your team on achieving milestones, and sharing some of that fun. Um, so I will be certainly doing that when I go to the Philippines next Tuesday, and there's no mastermind next week because I'm actually in transit, and the coaching will be Thursday next week. If you are looking to book that with me. So in terms of international law and the Philippines and hiring, we'll get back to that later in the webinar. We mentioned the bonuses. I like the surprise bonus, just giving people a bonus for no apparent reason when they have performed, and your staff will be very grateful for that. And if you pay somebody $400 a month and you pay them 100 extra or 50 extra, that's a very, very good bonus. Yeah, and give it out of nowhere. Well, anything you want to add there, Regina?
Bonus makes me happy, very, very happy.
Yeah,
It actually adds inspiration and it makes me want to do great work for for you and for everyone.
yeah. So yeah, try to do that. But I'd also like to say, don't do it too often. It's good if there's a reason for it, um, and and yeah, just make it. I think maybe the most important thing is to actually say why you're getting it, and giving a lot of positive feedback in the process of learning is a very good way of motivating your staff to continue working for you and being loyal to you as well. So give two positive feedbacks and then one correction. I wouldn't even say negative. I just say correction. Um, PayPal is a way to transfer money. There's many ways to transfer money. The easiest way, if they have a PayPal account, is to just log on to PayPal and transfer. There, Regina, can you tell how complicated is it to get a PayPal account in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, we most of the people here don't know about PayPal. We don't do online payment. We here in the Philippines, all we pay is in cash. And when the in the virtual industry, in a virtual assistant, we were introduced with PayPal. It's easy. We can anyone can just create an account, and then we go to a bank. We ask for a savings account or a bank account that will allow us to link our PayPal to that account, and the bank will provide you one. That's exactly it's called, the most famous one is the Eon card. Any Filipino can get an Eon card. It's just 350 pesos, and they can get that, and
So
they
350
have to
pesos is like $6.
uh,
Yeah,
yes, it's like a registration fee
$8.
to get that. And then they had to link that account to their PayPal, which is easy. PayPal makes it very easy for us. And then once you pay us via PayPal, we get that PayPal money to that Eon card, and we get it in 2 or 4 days, and we can withdraw that money anywhere in
yeah.
an ATM machine.
But a lot of Filipinos might not want to be paid with PayPal because the percentage is 2.8, I believe, in a normal transfer. So that's actually, what if you did a job and somebody took 2.8% of, yeah, you pay taxes, you're saying now, but but
Mhm.
what if PayPal took 2.8% of your pay? So another way to transfer is Exum. I've actually never used that. Regina, have you used Zoom?
Yes, we use Zoom when we want to send money to our families in other places in the country. And then they have Zoom outlets in the mall or in the public places. And all you need to do is get the control number that will be given to you online, and they will just fill up a form and they can get the money right then and there.
Yeah. So what I used in the beginning was Western Union, um, and Western Union can be found all over the world. They charge quite a high fee for the transfer, but you can set it up so that nobody takes the percentage. So basically, you pay the fee and then the money is transferred, and all you need is their full name and address. Is that correct, Regina? The
Yes,
full name
yes,
and
and they
address.
need to have two valid IDs to get the money, because
Right.
when Western Union is more strict.
Yeah. Absolutely. In the beginning, it can be a good idea to pay people 2 times a month. Actually, just because they're getting started, and it would be a good way to keep them motivated. So yeah, you can pay twice a month. What would you say is the main reason for that, Regina?
This is because we have a different budget scheme. We most of the time we have a lot of expenses, and if we have a 2 days pay in a month, we tend to budget our money wisely,
Right.
and we tend to have better expenses.
Okay. So how does that help us as employers?
This actually makes for employers, it helps you. As long as we deliver the task, then you can pay us, twice a month.
Yeah.
And then we actually want to deliver, as long as it depends on your agreement, but this is the ideal
Yeah.
dates.
So one thing to say is that when you start working with your VA or somebody from the VIP VA list, you can start off by paying per hour. right? You can say, or you can just decide a price for a project. So if it's a web design project, you say, you have to make a spec. You can get them to make the spec, and then decide on the price, right? And what I usually add is like I'll add a bonus to the price. So I'll say deliver well, and I'll pay you this extra bonus. Um, so with the twice a month, the way I've started a lot of relationships is that we've started off with hourly. So we've started just hourly pay, and then we've moved on to sort of a monthly fixed salary. So the twice a month scheme is something you can use once somebody's working for you full time, or you just do per project. Um, so there's many ways of setting this up. There's many ways of getting going with your new person. Basically, it's you can pay per hour, you can pay per project, or you can pay per month. Um, you can start off with just a project and say, do this, and that, and then from that's a way of seeing whether you fit or not. But to move somebody to full time employment, of course, that creates more stability for them, and they can also start planning more long terms, which means you can start paying them once a month instead of twice a month. And possibly one of the things that you can teach them if you're good at it is budgeting. Yeah. So training, I guess this really comes down to how complex your product is or what your service is. But allowing enough time to train is important, and also um, there are some people in the industry that have made Filipinos out to be superhuman. So it's important to understand that certain people have certain skills, and that you should try to train them at one thing at a time. And then once they master that skill, then you train them on another one. Anything you want to add there, Regina?
Yes, because like you mentioned earlier, whenever you overwhelm us with tasks, we just say yes and yes and yes.
Yeah.
We tend to be embarrassed to say no,
Hmm.
especially whenever we're just starting. We want to please you and we want you to be impressed by us, and then we take whatever you give us, and we tend to not to deliver.
Yeah. Well, that depends. What do
Yeah.
you? Not as good as you want to, maybe.
Yeah, I mean sometimes, we tend to overestimate things, and then we
Yeah.
tend to get more projects and then we can't make it, and that's it.
I guess the point here is like, for instance, with the 13th month, like that's something I didn't know about, and I could have really made a big mess of it all if I hadn't decided just to pay Christmas bonuses. Um, so I was lucky there, but I think the important thing to know is that something that seems very simple to you is very complex for somebody else, and vice versa. And hence why we're talking so much about communication and training one thing at a time, etc. Because a simple thing as logging onto a webinar can be very very complicated for them, but since you've done it a few times, it's easy. And so when you start building your outsourcing empire, it is about understanding that people need time to understand what you know, and then they know it, and then they can train other people. Um, just to start training your staff, either you have an info product or you've bought something like Kajabi, where people can actually go in and learn themselves. Um, there is a simple way to do it, and it's called screen capture. Um, it's important here to understand that people are either predominantly visual, predominantly auditory, or predominantly kinesthetic. So visual learners typically learn better by watching a video or or seeing a demonstration. An auditory learner will learn by listening to something, right? And a kinesthetic learner will learn by doing the actual work. So it's important to bear in mind that when you're creating your systems that you're going to be outsourcing, that you think about these things. So you might actually need a video demonstration and text of um, the same task, because people will prefer to do one or the other. Some people you actually have to have hands-on physical training with for them to do the task. This, of course, depends on the task, um, but it's important to understand that people learn in different ways, and that you may need to tailor your system for all these kinds of different people. The This is the world's most simple how to create a system recipe. Okay, what you need to make a widget. So basically, what parts you need. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you. I need a screen capturing software and I need a webinar. How to put it together. So you need to explain step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and then to make sure that the quality of the product is good enough, you need to measure it, or you have to have somebody else measuring it. So, for instance, in the image editing company, we have a controller, and what the controller does every single day is that he or she sits and checks all the imagery. So somebody else edits the imagery, and then it goes to stage 2, where they check all the imagery, and then they make a note of the ones that are wrong. And they can actually then check who's done the work for that job, and then talk about that with that employee later. So measuring is a very important part of that. So I'm just gonna I pressed escape there, so now you see more of my screen. You see the jumping GoToWebinar icon there. So there's a program for Mac called ScreenFlow. For PC, it's Camtasia. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to press the GoToWebinar button, and I'm going to move this GoToWebinar control panel down here. And all I have to do is press record, and then it does a countdown thing here. And now I'm just going to talk, and now it's actually recording everything on my screen. I can teach people that if you want to write questions, you have to type them in here. Here I can see the questions, right? I can type answers, tests, for instance. I can send it to all, or I can choose somebody to send it to. That is how you write questions on a webinar. I also have all sorts of different options here. I can mute Regina. I can give her keyboard and mouse so she can actually control my laptop. You go to dashboard here. So that's how you create a simple system to teach people how to reply to questions on a webinar. So I'm going to stop recording there and create a new document. And here it is. Here is the whole recording. I will then go here and go to File, Export. I'm going to just export that and write test like that. So now it's actually exporting, and that'll take under a minute. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to open up YouTube. Opening up YouTube here. My account should already be here. And then I just go to, that's the wrong account, so I'm going to sign out of that. So Regina, do you want to talk about how this has worked? You know, I've made many of these for you. How's that been for you in terms of learning?
It's very helpful, especially with tasks that are very that need step-by-step instructions. And
Yeah,
then instruction by words on email is great, but we want to, like I said, we want it to be perfect. And with you, whenever you provide us a video, what we usually do is just copy what you do,
right.
and then that's more easier, and then we get it more, and then we do some practice, and then we just go to the video again and we just replay stuff. That's very helpful and fast.
Yeah, just need the password here. Can't remember all our passwords. We use something called LastPass for our passwords. It's a great way to to share your password with with other people. I take it you can't see the screen with all my passwords right now. That would I wouldn't like that. I don't share them with many people, but of course I trust you guys. So basically, you go to upload, and this is the Mr. Outsource YouTube account. I would make it unlisted here, and all you need to do then is go find your file, and the file is here. It's called test, and all I do is drag and drop it in there. And now you see the videos uploading, and then you get this link here. You just copy that link, copy link location, or we can just press it and it'll open up. And when it's unlisted, it means that you can only see the video once once you have the link. So it's not publicly on the YouTube channel. You can also upload it as private, but then somebody else needs to log in and stuff. So basically, a really simple way to create a system is the way I did it right now. So if you click that link that I put in into the questions box, then you can actually watch the video that I just recorded. So there you saw I made an instruction in 2-3 minutes, and you can do these with like any task that takes 3 to 5 minutes, or any task that takes 1 to 5 minutes. You shouldn't be doing it, because that compounds up, and you should be making these simple videos on how to do things, right? And that's a very simple way of getting started. So for instance, if one of your tasks is backing up websites, or anything like travel bills, right? If you have lots of travel bills, then make a video on how to do that. It'll take you 5 minutes. It'll take you another 3 minutes to upload, and then all you need is to do the screen capture, like I showed you. Upload it to your YouTube channel, and then send your VA the link. That's the most simple way to get started, really. Yeah, let people do stuff. Give an outline of what you need, what you want to get done, and then let them do it. And allow for some failure. Never expect them to be as good as you, because you're likely to know. And this goes back to the whole thing that um, some people just don't know how to do what the stuff that you know how to do. So something that's simple to you is not simple for them. So you have to bear that in mind, and train and train and train. Okay, so anything you want to add on this slide, Regina?
I think with in terms of, I just want to reiterate with about the video, that
Yeah,
video is more helpful, because we see things, because there are softwares that you use that we don't use, we're not familiar, and whatever with video, that's we know where to go and how to do it.
yeah, yeah. Um, I like the kiss, kick, kiss method. Basically, positive correction, positive, and also always end on a positive note. I think it's we're especially in the West, we're quite good at giving direct feedback, and not giving positive feedback as well. But I think if you are positive, then people will be positive to you, and it just creates a better working environment. Yes, keep on. It's sort of a ongoing process, right? And the better they are, the more money you make, right? So keep on training them in tasks, and the more you train them, the more they can train others, and you can build your virtual team like that. And plus, people like learning and growing, so keep on talking to them about new tasks, and also involve them in the future. Talk about your vision. Talk about what you're trying to achieve, and keep them engaged in that way. Um, yes. So how to get started? Just how to get started with your VA. After you've talked to them and after you've accepted them, say we're going to do this project, and encourage them to give feedback to you. Encourage them to communicate with you. You need to tell them that I want to hear what you have to say, and I value your opinion. I think that's something you can't just say once. You have to keep on repeating that for them, um, so that they get good at suggesting things and asking you questions, and also letting you know that, oh, I can't do that job because I have this thing planned. Um, this webinar has been a lot about how to create a great working relationship with your VA, basically, and I believe that's the secret of outsourcing mastery is building using the power of team, and consistently building a team for you that manages your business, basically, and you can do that by giving them piece by piece and training them and giving time, and also teaching them the skills of how to train others, because then you don't have to train them, right? I would do video the first time. There's basically two softwares for that. You can use Skype or Google Hangout. Skype is something that most people generally have. What would you say, Regina? Is Skype very normal in the Philippines?
Yes, it's normal now, especially now that we have a lot of relatives and families working abroad.
Yeah.
So I think that Skype is popular.
What percentage of the Filipino population is working in other countries?
I would say 40 to 45%, usually
It's it's
nurses.
it's very high. It's very, very
Yes.
high. I believe the US has something like 10 million Filipinos or something. So it is high, um, and it's the service sectors a lot of the time, because that's culturally you're good at that. I suggest, just for your own security, I would suggest that you get a copy of their ID card and the utility bill where they not live but where they live, so that you have that in case something happens. I've been outsourcing for 6 years and nothing has ever happened to me. So, but I think it's just good to have, just in case something would happen or something did happen. Get them to sign an NDA or non-compete, so you have that. Just again, better safe than sorry. In terms of employee contracts, there are different ways of doing this. What you need to make sure is that you pay them as a consultant in the beginning, and once you are successful in outsourcing, you might want to actually go down there and establish a company and go that route, or you can just work with them virtually on small tasks. It depends on it really depends on where your business goes, and what you want to do. So in terms of the employee contract, it's they're basically self-employed. They have to pay Phil Health and taxes. Regina, you want to fill in on that?
Yes, because we are working home based. We are paying our taxes, paying our social security, paying our health insurance voluntarily, and we deduct them from the pay
Yeah.
that the client gives us.
Yes. Yes. So that's something to think about in terms of the salary as well. Is that it's actually going towards the health system that they're part of, and they are actually responsible for doing that themselves, because you're employing them as a contractor, right? And I would suggest talking to your new employee in terms of what they're doing in terms of Phil Health and taxes and stuff, because, um, well, one of the rules, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if they're not paying those kind of things, maybe they're not doing other things. So please make sure that you have a talk to them about your agreement. And I suggest just having those, the ID card and the utility bill and the NDA, just in case. Better safe than sorry in that area. As I said, I haven't had any problems in the time that I've been outsourcing to the Philippines, so you shouldn't necessarily have a problem either. Open communication is a good way to, just talk to them, just listen, talk. Get your employee to repeat back to you what you have gotten them to do. I believe that's also in the 1 minute manager that you mirror to get them to mirror their reply to you. It's a simple management technique that minimizes mistakes. Be strict on their daily update. We've talked about the daily update before. One thing I didn't mention before with the daily update is that the title of the daily update should be the date, the name of the person and the date, so that you know exactly what dates for. Because maybe you've been off your email for 3, 4, or 5 days, and it's just good to know. You can follow, you can trace basically what's been happening. And then number of hours, so you can backtrack and check how many hours they have worked, but you're not really going to have to do that. And as I said before, Filipinos are honest, and they'll basically be honest with you about the hours worked. So the next are, what tasks did I do today, and what results did I get? Challenges I encountered, and questions I have for you. So if you're in a real rush, what you do is you go straight to the questions and just reply to the questions, because that means there will be progress. But do take time to read all the other ones as well. Regina has added a fourth one, which is reminders and other comments. So, for instance, today was remember webinar, remember coaching, and a couple of things like that. And she puts them in yellow as well for me. So that's a very good way of staying on track. The golden rule is basically date, number of hours, what tasks I did today. So basically, what's been done today, challenges and questions. Um, Relationships and habits. Regina, can you take this one?
Yes. First, Filipinos are great friends. Whenever, because we tend to see a client as something higher. We tend to put you up there, and then we just downgrade ourselves sometimes. So whenever you ask us how our life, how our family, how our day has been doing, so it actually creates a relationship. It creates a great rapport. It builds trust between clients and VA.
Hmm.
So that is also very helpful. And
Yeah.
then next is never miss or be late in your paying your VA. Again, the salary is like our bread and butter. It's how we live. And if you miss one day for the pay, then basically we need to, all the plans, the budget monthly plans will be destroyed, and we need to adjust everything.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, Filipinos aren't necessarily the best financial planners. So
Yes,
you get your salary, and then it's sort of spent on things, and then you sort of go and wait um, until next
until the
next month.
next.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why it's really important to pay on time. We do
Yes.
a weekly, we do a meeting every Tuesday with the managers, and we go through everything that's happening that week, and it can be anything from the drop shipping to the image editing to Mr. Outsource stuff, and we just have a general meeting of what's going on. And the good thing with that is that people then see that things are happening, right? So it also makes people feel involved, and it's a good way to do that. We do that. We don't do that with video. We just do it with Skype. Just have a group meeting on Skype. Um, I think it's a really good way to keep the team motivated and organized. Um, so today we talked about working with Filipinos on cultural things, how to transfer money, how much to pay. I showed you a simple way of creating the first part of your system. So basically, once you have a part that works, it can be anything from travel bills to invoicing clients. You can make a quick video like that. It's actually one of the most powerful tools I use is this video technique that I showed you. Um, and I also use a program called Skitch, which I'm going to show you more about next time, called Business Autopilot, sorry. Getting started, so just jump on Skype and do a video chat with them, talk to them, just listen. And then about relationships, like ask them about their family, do the monthly, the weekly meeting, and yes, do those kind of things. So business autopilot is what we're going to talk about there is like what do you start automating? What kind of things do you start getting other people to do for you? I'm going to show you more techniques on how to create a system. We're going to talk about what to measure and what tools to use to measure. Um, when to make changes. So, for instance, today I talked about how we had to make changes with one client, and it was down to measuring actually, and I'm going to tell you more about that next time. And then the important skill of sharpening the saw, because the more you automate and outsource, the more freedom you have and the more money you make. So